Welcome back. I'm Pat, that Halloween movie collector, and we're going to do another one of my favorite films and discuss why is it so good. And this time we're doing The Warriors, one of my favorite films of all time. Film that actually led me to Halloween. I'll tell a story later if you haven't heard it before. And this, what I like about this movie, it's takes me back to a time when I was a kid, grew up near New York City. Knew a lot of the locations. Used to spend had aunts and uncles in the Bronx, so I kind of knew a lot of the areas. So it made it more special that way. But it's such a great story with great characters, memorable scenes. And after 45 years, we're still talking about this film. Just went to Chiller Theater not that long ago, and they had a huge reunion. That's where I got my vest. Bought it right from Michael Beck. And they had Deborah Van Valkenburg there. It was just had a whole slew of people from the Baseball Furies to the Punks to the Rogues to the Riffs. It was a great, probably the biggest collection of people I've seen from the Warriors. So it was so much fun. So let's discuss this. Why is The Warriors so good? The Warriors were released in 1979, directed by Walter Hill, and tells... like I said, it's a story of street gangs, New York City, survival, and all wrapped up into a nice little package. So what I do on these videos is I take different points of a film and sort of go through why I think this film is so good. And I keep threatening that I'm going to do movies that suck, but I'm just doing like some of my favorite films for now. So simplicity. It's a very simple story. Mistaken identity and survival. The Warriors go to the Conclave, and they are there with all the other street gangs, and the Gramercy Riffs are the biggest gang in New York City, calling for a truce, saying let's band together because we outnumber the police. We could take over this city. And of course, what happens? The leader, Cyrus, gets gunned down by one of the people in the Rogues, played by Patrick Kelly, and he manages to pin it on the Warriors. So now we spend the whole film where they're all chasing the Warriors. Each faction is going after them, one after another. So it's just a constant battle to get back to Coney Island, which is their home turf. So it's a very simple story of survival. Shock value. Well, there's a shock value because you start out watching the film, you wonder what's going on. You see all the gangs get together at this conclave, and you're thinking, okay, they're going to get together. There's going to be a truce. Let's see where this goes. And out of nowhere, the leader gets assassinated and causes a whole riot. And just as he's assassinated, the police arrive, and it just turns into bedlam. So there's that shock value there. There's, truth be told, a lot of shock value in it. Other parts of the film where you see some of the colorful gangs that appear. But we'll talk more about that as we go through. This feels like New York City. It feels like 1970s New York. It's gritty and grimy, and just the way it was, the way I remember it in the 70s. And the atmosphere was perfect. It's all set at night until the very end when they arrive back at Coney Island, and it's during the day, but it's all in shadow. All just the atmosphere of the way everybody's acting, it just feels like a gang movie set in the 1970s New York City. Characters. I mean, this film is chock full of characters. Everything from just not only the Warriors, but all the rival faction gangs, like the Baseball Furies dressed in baseball uniforms, carrying bats and with makeup on their face. And you got the Punks, on the roller skates, and you got the Turnbull ACs and this big converted school bus hanging out the window like Mad Max, with the big like clubs and everything, chasing people. Just a slew of characters that are memorable. I mean, you have Swan, who's the war chief. You have Mercy, who is the instigator because she was hanging around with the orphans, and that's how she came to be with the Warriors, because they were on their turf. And now you would explain the whole film. I'm sure you've seen it, but characters memorable top to bottom in this film. Dialogue. The dialogue is very good. It's very simple. It's really just interactions between who do you have? Interactions obviously between the warriors, the punks, the rogues. You have interactions throughout this. You have a woman DJ who's basically going play by play of how they're getting from place to place, and basically telling play by play of what's happening. So you have that dialogue, and then the dialogue between. I mean, there's not much dialogue going on between the Warriors and the other groups because they're basically fighting them until the very end with the showdown at Coney Island. But the dialogue is very simple. It fits the time, and it fits the story perfectly. Pacing in this film, very, very good. It starts, it takes you up and down, and then the third act is the climax. So it's very good, the pacing. 1 minute, they think they're safe. They arrive at a subway station. They run into police, or they get chased by the Turnbull ACs. Of course, you have Ajax because he wants to be a jackass and hit on a girl who turns out to be an undercover cop. So it turns into that melee, and now he gets arrested and he's out of the film. And it just calms down for a minute, but then they encounter one after another. They right to when they meet up with the Little Izzies, which is an all-girl group, a gang, where they thought they'd be safe, and they pull a gun out on them. So it's up and down. It's great. It's calm. There's action. There's calm. There's action. And then third act takes you right to the top. Atmosphere. Basically the same as the feel. The atmosphere takes you there. You feel like it's nighttime in New York City. And they have their vests on with no shirts on. So you know it's got to be summertime, and those dog days of hot, humid summer days in New York City. So you feel the grime, you feel the sweat, you see the angst of everything that's going on, and the atmosphere just you're totally invested in it. It just gives you that feel. Shout out to Walter Hill for amazing direction, and I forget who the cinematographer is, but it's perfect. Lighting. It's all at night, so it's lit well. You have street lights. There are some indoor scenes in the subways, on the subway cars. So the lighting is very good, and it reveals just enough of what you really need to see. And it highlights, their vests, the way they look, the way they dress, and their hair, because obviously it's the 70s, so it's just different type of haircuts than nowadays. But it's definitely there. You see everything, and it feels like you're in a gang movie, and it feels like you're in New York City. Tension. There's tension because they keep encountering different groups, gangs rather, one after another. So there's that tension of, what's going to happen? Somebody could get killed. Are they going to lose one? They lost two along the way. One gets killed because he's fighting with the police, gets thrown into the subway, gets killed by the subway. Then you lose Ajax when he gets arrested. In the very beginning, you lose Cleon, who was the war chief, because he's the one that gets fingered by David Patrick Kelly as the killer, and then he gets attacked, and he's presumably dead because they just engulf him. So you wonder, okay, we're going to lose people as we move along. It's almost like in a war. You have your group of men, you go into battle, and like they always say, 50 of you are going into the battle, 25 of you are coming back, or ain't coming back, rather. So you never know. So yeah, the tension's there. And then the very end, when you think they're safe, they get to Stillwell Ave, they get to Coney Island, and they start walking through Coney Island, the amusement park there. And then, of course, what do you see? You see the infamous scene with David Patrick Kelly with the bottles on his hands. There's that tension, what's going to happen, and the showdown by the water, because that's where they feel most comfortable and safest, as Swan would say. And the finale. Great finale. Just like I just said, it all culminates on the beach in Coney Island with the showdown. And you think, he's going to be dead because David Patrick Kelly pulls a gun on him. You think he's going to shoot Swan and kill him. And he has his switchblade, throws it quick, hits him in the hand, and obviously doesn't get shot. And then just as that happens, what do? You look over, and there's the Gramercy riffs. Because earlier in the film, somebody comes and says, hey, you need to hear what he's got to say to the leader of the riffs, and tells them, hey, they didn't do it. I saw who did it, and that's who it was. So then, of course, I love the ending of it when he says, You still looking for us? No, we found what we were looking for. And they know it's him. And he's like, you Warriors are good, real good. And actually, that's what's on the back of my vest. I'll snapshot it and put it up here. Michael Beck signed it, the best. So, and that's a great film. And it's funny because story goes back in 1980, growing up in northern New Jersey, not a lot of people had cable. We were one of the first people to have cable in that area. So my cousins were over. It was Halloween night, October 31st. And we were running home. We trick-or-treated. We're running home to watch the Warriors because we wanted to watch the Warriors because it was going to be on HBO. So we watched the Warriors. Loved it. What comes on after that? Halloween. And that's when I first saw Halloween. And that's where my love of the Warriors and Halloween started. October 31st, 1980, when I saw both films for the first time. So this movie's got nostalgia for me. It was great meeting everybody at Chiller Theater. It was great getting my vest. Playing a cover band. Probably gonna start wearing out every time I play. Cover my beer belly. But so that is, to me, that is why The Warriors is so good. It's just one of my favorite films. Do me a favor, comment below. Let me know. Why do you think The Warriors is so good? Let me know if you maybe don't like The Warriors. Give me a couple of reasons why you don't like it. Most people I come across tend to like it. And it's amazing the level of love it's gotten over the past 20 years that I just see from a lot of people at different conventions and everything. It's just amazing. And it's awesome. So, but let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Is it good? Is it bad? Let me know. And when you do that, down below, hit that like button. Helps people find this channel. You Warriors fans. I also did a review on here of the Warriors, and we're always talking Halloween. Obviously, it consumes my life, but we're big Warriors fans, so we talk a lot about the Warriors. And if you like movie reviews, horror stuff, music, all sorts of happy horse shit like that, hit that subscribe button. Don't cost nothing. Appreciate it if you do. But yeah, come back in another week or so. I'll probably do another Why Is It So Good? So I'm going to try to think of another film. I know I'm basically showing my favorite films. I'll try to pick some out of the ordinary. This popped out because this vest usually sits on the back of my chair. So I'm like, let me do the Warriors. Why not? Why? Because it's so damn good. I'm Pat, the Halloween movie collector. I'll talk to you soon.